Hello, I'm glad that you could join me today. Today we will look deep inside and shine a light on some of the dark places that we may not have thought to shine a light on. One of these places is, what is the quality of your heart? I know that we all have good intentions to feel peace and love towards everyone, but really look inside today. Take the time to find out, where is my heart really at? Do you have a murderous heart? Can you love with no hate? Hate is not an emotion. It is a condition of your heart. Where are you still holding hate? Can you love the unlovable? Who or what do I categorize as unlovable? Where do I feel that people, places, or myself are undeserving of my love, or love in general? So how do I accomplish this? When things come up and I realize that I am holding hate instead of love, we can begin with the maxim. The maxim of Pangu Shengong. Take kindness and benevolence as basis. Take frankness and friendliness to heart. Speak with reason. Treat with courtesy. Act with emotion. And accomplish results. Those results are to only love and no hate in your heart. We can also practice by living the 5 virtues of being calm and peaceful, open and tolerant, humble and modest, determined and earnest, persistent and diligent. Circumstances, people, events, and challenges are placed in our lives to help us to learn to be kind and benevolent, to be straightforward and friendly. They are there to help us learn to have only love and not hate in our hearts. They show us where we are weak and where we need to concentrate our energy. When we are challenged, have we learned to remain calm and peaceful? When we are challenged, have we learned to be open to new ideas, beliefs, and experiences, and tolerant with others' beliefs and experiences? When we are challenged, have we learned to recognize where we may not have all the answers and may need to trust others? When we are challenged, have we learned to not give up or to shut down, but to persevere? And when we are challenged, have we learned to be diligent and persistent when we don't want to? So now let us release the emotional reactions that we have when faced with challenges that cause us to hate ourselves. When you look in the mirror, and at other times when we beat ourselves up, are we really loving ourselves? Are we showing the hate that is in our hearts? Because you can't hate yourself and love others. So let's take off the lens of hate and start loving and respecting ourselves so we can begin to see the beauty in ourselves, in others, and in everything around us. So we'll take a deep cleansing breath and release all that does not align with love. Now carefully listen and absorb these statements, paying attention to areas that are difficult to process, and allow yourself to move into a new supportive consciousness, to form new beliefs of clarity, harmony, and alignment. We will breathe after each statement to help it to solidify into our hearts and into our physical bodies, so that we can create new pathways of response that are actually going to help us become more aligned with love and the universe. So here we go. I give myself permission to open my heart to new ideas, experiences, and feelings that will bring me into deeper and lasting places of joy and peace. Take a deep breath. I forgive myself for believing that my body is spiteful, causing me harm and pain to punish me, when it is actually protecting and healing me. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for hating it so much. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for believing that it hates me and is trying to hurt me, when the truth is, no matter what I do, my body shows up and does everything in its power to save me, keep me functioning, and protect me from harm. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for projecting my own spiteful and hateful thoughts from my heart onto it. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I am allowed to indulge in harmful practices and beliefs with no adverse effects. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for blaming it for the adverse effects I experience when I hurt and abuse it and cause it pain and suffering. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for not respecting its limits and its capabilities. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for not treating it with kindness and love and expecting it to perform optimally after I abuse, torture, and curse it. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for hating it and expecting it to love me back unconditionally. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for every time I have called it names, cursed it, hated it, and tortured it for whatever it did not comply with in my closed-minded and limited demands. And breathe. I forgive myself for punishing the reactions to known or unknown adversities instead of focusing on the actual adversities. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for being disgusted and hating it for accumulating fat when it may be a reaction to an unknown stressor that I can do nothing about. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for hating and cursing the pain my body feels from inflammation that occurs from a known or unknown stressor that I can do nothing about. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for trying to interfere with its healing process because I believe that it should be done differently or quicker. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for getting in the way, disrupting and halting the process of healing over and over and over again. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I am entitled to punish all behavior that does not comply to my narrow and rigid understanding of reality. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for aggressively punishing it when it goes against my wishes and beliefs. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for blaming it for the pain and suffering I feel, when it is actually me and my beliefs that created the problem, not it. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for believing that I don't need to change my beliefs and thoughts so that I can justify the blame and the victimhood. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing I am exceptional and that exceptions should be made for my behaviors, but not anyone or anything else's. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for believing that the natural process of life doesn't apply to me. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me when I get angry, when I want things to behave differently than the natural order of things. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for failing to see that my thoughts and beliefs are the real problem creating the disasters. And breathe. I forgive myself for not seeing the love and patience that my body has for me, continually adapting to my carelessness and abuse, and still shows up to heal and protect me. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for not respecting its love and devotion. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for calling love hate and hate love. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for my lack of understanding and immature behavior towards it, the greatest and most wondrous gift that I have ever been given. And breathe. I ask my body to forgive me for mistreating and not cherishing it as the precious and most advanced gift that I have. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I have to do something instead of remaining calm and allowing my body to do what it is best at doing. And breathe. I forgive myself for believing that my body has to comply with my demands instead of presenting the outcome I desire and being open to every possible way to make that happen, even if it is just being still and tolerating the healing process. And breathe. I forgive myself for being self-centered and focusing on my interests instead of focusing on the good of the whole, which may mean being compassionate with my body and taking care of and putting others' needs first, even when I'm suffering. And breathe. I forgive myself for giving up when things don't go the way I want them to, and I feel helpless and discouraged. And breathe. I forgive myself for being doubtful that my body is my greatest friend and ally, instead of trusting and feeding it with love and support, being its greatest friend and ally. And breathe. I forgive myself for doubting the capabilities and power of my body, of heaven, and of earth, in purifying my heart and soul so that I can love the unlovable and have only love, not hate, in my heart. And breathe. I give myself permission to experience life through the lens of love, not hate. And breathe. I give myself permission to love and nurture my body by giving it what it needs to function well, from the most compassionate place of my heart. And breathe. I give myself permission to love even when I am in pain. And breathe. I give myself permission to feel with compassion even when my desires are not met or seem to be opposed. And breathe. I give myself permission to love what is unlovable in me and in others. And breathe. I give myself permission to show kindness and compassion, always striving to promote good, even when I feel broken and hurt. And breathe. As I allow my heart to be tempered and purified through the experiences I am presented with and required to love, I release the barricade of hate within me for my highest and greatest good and for the good of others, now and continually. And breathe. And release. As you go on with your day, may your struggles and pain purify your heart, that you may see with the eyes of love, hear with the compassion and grace of God, and feel with the heart of one who is in harmony with life itself. Godspeed.